Good morning, everybody. Today I will be presenting my research paper with the title Examining Current Beliefs and Barriers about CEFR in Malaysia. By the way, I am Mei and I'm from the Teacher Training Institute in Melaka from Malaysia. So to talk about the CEFR in Malaysia, in 2016, last year, the English Language Standards and Quality Council was set up to focus on the structural changes to help the Malaysians improve their standard of English. And this, from the meetings and discussions that the council had come up with, this has resulted in the English language roadmap. And with this English language roadmap, a number of changes are happening in Malaysia. And it started with the review the existing English language education system and measure its performance. And then we have the roadmap. And what's happening now, which started last year, is the transformation of the English language education system. Now, the English language education reform in Malaysia, based on the roadmap, is supposed to take place for starting 2015 up to 2025. And this is the guide for teachers to help students achieve proficiency level, which is aligned to the international standards. Now, in order to align it to the international standard, the Malaysian government had adopted the CEFR. Now, what is CEFR? For those who are still new, CEFR stands for the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. And this document was published in 2001. But the work had started 10 years before it was published. Now, what CEFR is about is an internationally recognized framework to describe the ability of language learners. It provides the common standards for second language proficiency, and it can cover any languages. So it provides a common standard, which means if we say that our learners is of A2, somebody from Pakistan would know what it means, what A2 means. So it's an internationally recognized, a common standard for all the countries in the world. Now, but so far, the impact of CEFR in different countries has been diverse. And what is most common and famous about CEFR is its 6 common goal scales of reference levels, which is the lowest level. At its lowest level, it is known as A1. Then it moved to A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. There are 6 levels. Sorry. So, looking at the 6 levels framework, A1 is known as the breakthrough level, where if you are in A1, it basically means you can communicate at basic English, you can communicate in basic English with help from the listener. So, and the Cambridge English has also provided specific exams for the various standards, the various levels. Now, another example, just to help you have a general idea on what CEFR is about. When we say somebody is at B2 for writing, these are the statements, the descriptors that will appear in the scale for writing. For example, if you are in B2 means I can evaluate different ideas and solutions to a problem, which means if we say the learner is at B2 for writing, that learner is able to evaluate different ideas and solutions to a problem. That learner can also synthesize information and arguments from a number of sources. So with this, common international framework, people from different countries studying English as a second language would have the same idea when we say somebody is at B2 in terms of writing. So this CEFR gives teachers a much clearer picture of their learners' ability at various levels, what they can do, and what they should do in order to move to the different levels. So in terms of the Malaysian education system, we have come up with the Ministry of Education, with the working closely with Cambridge English, has come up with this plan starting from 2016 right up to 2020. It started off, like I've said earlier, the roadmap was, they came up with the roadmap in order to give everybody a clear guideline of what to expect for the next 10 years in terms of English language teaching. And this year, supplementary books were given to Year 1 and Form 1. These are CEFR aligned English textbooks, supplementary books. And this year also, they have started with material adaptation, trainings for teachers, CEFR curriculum aligned to our Malaysian curriculum, started training this year too, and end of the year they're going to do an impact and baseline study. In fact, last year, 2016, we had started training the teachers. We had given the teachers training on CEFR familiarization. This is where teachers are given a general idea on what CEFR is about. So next year, we'll start with school-based assessment, textbook survey, and again, the alignment of the curriculum, the local context Malaysian English language curriculum will be aligned to the CEFR. And this takes up right up to 2020. Now, so the research, I was involved with the familiarization training, and I wanted to know what are the teachers who are at ground level, what do they think about this CEFR? So we find that the roadmap started with familiarization cascade training. Now this cascading method may not be effective in changing attitude and skills, mainly because the time for the training was just 3 days. So, but still, teachers would have an idea on what CEFR is about, and they could already relate to their present classroom practices. So therefore, we want to know the teachers who had attended the training, what are their perceptions, what are their perception towards the CEFR, and what are their thoughts, their concerns, in order for us to be more prepared with the alignment of the CEFR to the curriculum. So, as teachers are the key to the success of any new innovation in school, what they think is important. Now, without an understanding of these issues, the creation of a new and effective English language curricula aligned to the CEFR will be challenging. Therefore, we need to know what the teachers think, and based on their concerns and their thoughts, we could integrate this in the implementation process. So the research question to the paper are, I have 3 research questions. What are your perceptions towards the relevance of CEFR in your teaching and learning? What are your needs in having to integrate CEFR, and the factors that would influence the success of the CEFR? This is where I asked what are the factors that they think would help or would hinder the implementation. Now, this is a qualitative research study, sample size 26 teachers. These are all teachers who have attended the familiarization training in CEFR. I've used an open-ended survey. Now, data analysis. Now, data were transcribed and coded based on 3 broad dimensions, based on my research questions. So, the first is relevance, second is the needs, and the third are the factors that would influence the adoption of the CEFR. Then themes, patterns, and tentative categories were identified. Findings, relevance, in terms of relevance. Now, teachers find that the CFR is similar to their present classroom practices, and this is a good thing. If teachers can see the relevance of the new implementation or any new innovation to their current practices, they would not be so afraid to implement it. For them, it's really helpful for grading purposes. And yes, because CEFR has a very systematic and very clear descriptors of the various language activities that teachers carry out in the classroom. And they said teaching is better aligned to a student's proficiency level. Based on the descriptors, teachers can then match. They know exactly to be at that. If students are at that level, what are they able to do? And to move them to the next level, what are the things that they should do in order to help their students? So teaching is clearer based on the descriptors of the CFR. More focused attention towards oral skills, because CFR based on communicative approach. Its main approach is what students can do with the language. Therefore, definitely more emphasis on oral skills will come in. Teachers also say that this CFR alignment would give us international standard. Our English language certificate would be aligned, would be given an international recognition. Again, like I've said earlier, descriptors easier to understand compared to the present curriculum standards that they are using. In terms of needs, they said, we asked them, what do you think are your needs? And they said they need to understand the framework and descriptors, because there are the skills, there are more than 50 to 60 skills to help teachers assess the students in terms of language activities. So teachers were overwhelmed. So their main concern is to understand the framework and the descriptors. So therefore, with this, definitely more trainings and courses are needed. And they said assessment need to be fitted in accordingly. Because teachers in school normally teach based on what is being assessed. So assessment need to change if we want to change the classroom practices. The needs, they want the curriculum to be aligned to the CFR. This is, of course, the MOE is in the midst of doing it. Training on materials, building and assessment. They want more training in terms of building materials that are aligned to the CFR. Teachers' proficiency need to be improved. This goes without saying. Teachers and students' proficiency. Teachers' proficiency, in order to be able to deliver CEFRs at CEFR's standard, you've got to have a minimal standard. Now, my third research concern was to understand factors that would influence the adoption of the CFR. And first, they said that they want support from stakeholders would make a difference, whether it would help or hinder the implementation of the CFR. Next is the attitudes of the teachers. Teachers need to have an open-minded. They need to be open-minded. They need to be open to changes. So attitude would determine teachers' acceptance of the CFR. Another concern was the proficiency level of both students and teachers. Next is the lack of knowledge and skills in terms of teachers' knowledge and skills of CFR. Because the training, the familiarization training was carried out for 3 days, so teachers find that they needed more time. They felt that the CFR was complex. Time constraint, as usual. Any new changes, teachers in schools would be afraid of the added workload. Next, teachers are incompetent. They felt that if teachers are incompetent, they would not be able to deliver this alignment of the CEFR to the present curriculum. And in terms of materials and resources, they want sufficient materials that would help them to effectively deliver CEFR aligned curriculum in a classroom. So what now? We now know these are the teachers' concerned. So what do we do? Now, I find that these two statements from the respondent is interesting in this. One of the respondents said that CEFR alignment is inevitable. Our students and teachers need to realize that in order to be accepted globally, CEFR is needed. In order to be accepted globally, CEFR is needed. Another teacher's concern that attracted me was she said that I have a lot of non-optionist teachers whom are not English trained, who themselves are in A2 level. A2 is the second lowest level. How do I then expect them to help our learners attain B2? So, in order to have English teachers who are able to bring the students from the lowest level A1 to C2, the teachers themselves have to be proficient in the language, or it'll be quite an uphill task. So the general sentiment among them is they are worried of the inability to understand the CEFR and apply it. But in actual fact, CEFR is nothing new to us. It's just perhaps different terms. Things are made more organized, things are more systematic, but teachers are worried looking at the new jargons and all. So definitely we need competent English teachers. And some of what the Malaysian government is doing is to ensure that all English teachers achieve a minimal standard of English, whereby all the educators who are teaching English need to sit for the Cambridge placement test, and we need to achieve either C1 or C2 in order to be able to teach. So, recommendation, firstly, school leaders. In any change in school, if we want teachers to change, school leaders play a very important role. The support, their leadership skill in helping the teachers implement the changes is important. Then the school leaders itself, they need to be taught to assess teachers' readiness and needs. Teachers' readiness at what level and what do they need? And also to build competency to deal with the new aligned curriculum. We need special funds because new books are needed, new resources are needed, training, courses, and with this, we need funds. Now, stakeholders, including parents, must work together. Experts are to be invited to further work hand in hand with the teachers. And also, we suggest native speakers project. We have this native speakers project whereby we get teachers from the native countries to come and teach, from British, from America, from Britain, from America to come and teach. Now, we need to make sure, the recommendation here is include only those who are in the know about CEFR. So it'd be like teaching English and at the same time helping our local teachers to understand how CEFR is being integrated into the English lessons. Now, teachers need to be convinced of the relative advantage of CEFR. They need to be able to see it, and they would deliver it well in a classroom. And it has to be compatible with their current educational practice. They got to see it. They should be given time to try it out, experiment it, and they must have concrete ideas of what CFR looks like in their English classroom. What we did during the familiarization training is to get them to look at sample exercises to be carried out, to look at the descriptors, how to understand the descriptors. So they have not they have not yet tried implementing it in the classroom. So therefore, teachers need to be given time to try it out, to experiment it. So, what we are doing is, in order to align our curriculum to the international standard, the curriculum, teaching and learning aspects, in terms of materials development, training of teachers were carried out, is in the midst of training and assessment. This systemic change, training of all aspects is being carried out. Why? In order to improve student learning and achieve and help the students achieve better proficiency in terms of English. So, my conclusion, as with any change in education is easy to propose, but hard to implement and difficult to sustain. We understand, as with any change, challenges are expected, but what is clear is that more effort and support are needed before integrating it into the system. Teachers need to we need to hold the teachers' hands first before we let them go, before we expect them to implement any new implementations, any new innovations in the classroom. Enough support, training got to be given, got to be provided. The systemic change, not just new innovation in terms of pedagogical aspect, but also alignment with whatever change to the curriculum and assessment. Without a change in assessment, no classroom practice is going to change either. Thank you. That's all.